Welcome back to the channel, your channel, my channel. You are, I am. Okay, so this video is going to be about forgiveness. So, a little backstory. I have had to do a good amount of forgiving, okay? Not only forgiving others, but forgiving myself. I forgive myself every day, okay? So, I think about when Jesus is talking to God and he's on the cross and he says, Lord, Father, forgive them for they do not know what they are doing. Yeah, I think about that often. Now, from my understanding, take this back to God. God recreated himself as Christ and made himself the ultimate sacrifice, right? So if God is you, right, and we are to be godly, then we have to crucify our flesh, our our spirit made flesh to become renewed, be reborn. Jesus rose from the cross, rose from the dead. He was reborn technically, right? So in order for us to be reborn, we have to realize that we are being renewed. Renewed means that we were always new. We just remembering that we were new. We forgot. So forgive them because they know not what they are doing is because they were not conscious of what they are doing. A lot of people do not know what they're like, they know what they're doing, but they don't know what they're doing as far as them being God and not, they're not acting in character. They're not acting in character. They're in sin, right? So you have to forgive them because they really don't know like you think they know. Some people know what they're doing, but they only know what they're doing in ego. If their God self knew what they were doing, they wouldn't do those things, right? Hope I know this is making sense. I always be like, I hope this making sense. It's making sense. Watch it again. So I have had to forgive myself. I had to forgive myself, but also apologize to my child self and forgive her too. Teenage, high school, college. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of my business. I had to let go of resentment and forgive my daughter's father. We were in a relationship. It was abusive mentally, verbally, and then it turned physical when I was pregnant. And it had took a toll on me for a little while, maybe a year or so, and it affected my relationship with my daughter. And I'm doing so much better now. I'm such a better person for myself, but also for her because I'm loving myself, right? I can love her more because I am loving myself. But I can also see that she is God. And I remember when I was dating her dad, whenever there was some type of random argument that would come up, I would say, "You can't, like, you don't see the God in me," right? It hit hard now. It hit real hard now. But I had to forgive him. I had to forgive him for myself, period. But it was easier for me to forgive him because I realized that he wasn't in his right mind, his God state, like his God mind. He wasn't in it. He didn't know. He knew what he was doing here in the physical, but in the spirit, he was not what people call Christ conscious. Now, the whole term Christ conscious, a lot of Christians don't like to use the term. I'm just using it for a better understanding because I understand you with having um a limited amount of words in the English language, you have to use words to help you understand something. So Christ consciousness for me means that I don't know Christ. I never met him, right? I never met Jesus, Yeshua. I've never met him in the physical, right? I know him through spirit. That's the only way I can know him consciously. I know him consciously. I cannot know him physically. I can't walk up and be like, hey, yeah, I used to hang out with Jesus. I know Christ consciously now. And I know that I have the spirit of God and I remember, and Christ consciousness helps me to always remember, right? That is what God made himself again for, to remind us who we were all along. And so that's a whole nother story. But it was easy for me to forgive my ex because I had to remember that we are all God. And if I love God, then I can look at people that are even doing me wrong and say, they don't know that they're God. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know who they are. They don't know who they're being or not being. They are part of the ultimate being, but they're choosing to be flesh, right? So I was like, okay, if I love God, then I have to love them, because when I look at them, if I remove the flesh, if I see spirit, their spirit, if they should have been feeding the God spirit, but if they haven't been feeding, that spirit is weak. But nevertheless, it's a spirit of God. It's God's spirit. They're just letting their flesh operate stronger. And so that's why we need to starve the flesh from physical things. So that one thing helped. Looking at each individual as God, that helps so much, because I'm like, I love God, I love them. Also, I realized that people are on a different spectrum. And I know the word spectrum is usually used for individuals that exhibit symptoms of autism. But in this case, you can't look at it like that. But if you think about it, autism is, and just being on the spectrum, it's just a different way of thinking. You think different. You don't think like what people call normal. And who is to say that, but everybody learns different and processes information different. That helped me so much. And I have to continuously do that every single day. To remind myself, like, hey, you forget that person. That person is on a different spectrum than you. They have had a different experience than you, which makes them process information different than you. They have a different perspective. They helped so much. I was like, you know what? They're on another spectrum. They're in a different spectrum. The way I saw them treat me, they might, it ain't my business either way, but it helps me to just forgive them, because I don't, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. So a lot of people don't know what they're doing. They know from their perspective. They only can know from their perspective. Yeah, I be dropping this phone like, so I'm gonna get a phone case, and I'm not editing this out. But that helped me a lot. Okay. So seeing everybody as God, understanding everybody's on a different spectrum, and then I believe there was another one. Forgive them for they know not what they do, and then just understanding that they have a different perspective, right? Like one person, just like in other countries, if I was to wave my hand to say hello, they might see it as disrespectful because they bow, they do this. They might see me waving to say hello like this as disrespectful, but that's their perspective. We're all wrong and right at the same time, right? So if we're all right and wrong at the same time, it makes you so neutral and easy to forgive it. Give it away to the all-knowing. If you give it to the all-knowing, you just like, okay, this is experience and this is what, da, da, da. So that is the end of this video. Let me know if this resonated with you. Comment, like, share, subscribe, all that. This is a place to talk about life. This is a place to talk about you. Remember, you are, I am. See y'all later.